good, Commanders fans? So just wanted to do a studs and duds video. So big news here about Chase Young. Ron Rivera did say this last week that this was going to happen. This is from Nikki Javalis. She first reported it. She says Ron Rivera said, or this is Ron Rivera. He's having his presser right now, the post game, or not post game presser, but the day after press conference. She said Ron Rivera said the 21-day window for Chase Young to return from off the PUP list will start on Wednesday. Also, she says for clarification, Chase Young will be designated to return to practice Wednesday. The team then has 21 days to activate him to the 53-man roster. So I like that they're not rushing him back, of course. They've taken their time. He did tear his ACL against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when I think it happened in early November or in late October around this time. So the timetable to come back from ACL typically is a year. I know Adrian Peterson, a lot of people have come back quicker. Logan Thomas came back in less than a year. So I know just now in this day and age, people come back faster from ACL injuries. Of course, Ron Rivera, it was a little weird and sketchy how every week he would say, oh, Chase Young's coming back, or he was coming back this Wednesday. Last week, he was like, oh, he's going to come back. Or it was 2 weeks ago, he said he's going to come back on Wednesday, but then he met with Dr. James Andrews, and they pushed it back. So we'll see. I don't want them to rush the young man back. Could he play against the Vikings? We'll see. Or could he play against the Eagles on Monday night, in 2 weeks? Maybe that's more realistic to see him come back in that game on Monday Night Football. That would be intriguing to see him come back that game. So I don't have much expectations, and that's not a bad thing. I don't have much expectations for Chase Young at this point. I just want to see him be healthy, play within the scheme, play with discipline, and play with maturity as well, and play with the guys, play as a unit, which is what the guys have done. They played way more together and not running past the quarterback like last year, where him and Montez Sweat were doing that. So that's what I want to see from Chase Young, be that explosive guy that he can be, where he can put pressure on the quarterback. So that's what I want to see from him when he does come back. So yeah, let's start off with the studs here. The game, I didn't see Terry say this is my effing city. I don't know how I didn't see that, but I did see that after I made my recap video. But man, he owns that city of Indianapolis. That's where he's from, and he mossed to Stephon Gilmore. My goodness, he mossed that guy. And about the Taylor Heineke pass, I said this yesterday too. A lot of people saying it was a terrible pass, or he underthrew him. I think he gave Terry a good enough chance to get the football. We've seen this before in the Green Bay game where Terry mossed somebody when they lost in Green Bay last year. Terry mossed the guy in the Falcons game against Atlanta where Terry just threw it up in the air. And look, Terry and Heineke, they have a really good connection. Heineke gives Terry the best chance to be successful because he gives him a chance. He gives him that 50-50 ball. It could be a YOLO ball, whatever you want to call it. But he gives Terry McLaurin a chance because he trusts him. And honestly, a guy of Terry McLaurin's caliber and knowing your personnel and how good of a player he is, he's the best contested. I think he had the most contested catches last year in the NFL. You just give your guy a chance and he's going to go get it. So that's all Taylor had to do. It didn't have to be super accurate. He just knows it's a one-on-one matchup. Give Terry McLaurin a chance. And that doesn't happen if, the only reason why the play was even possible is because of Taylor Heineke's mobility, his escapability, the way to use his legs. That's the only reason why that play was even possible. We've seen with other quarterbacks that just can't move, can barely move. They probably would have got sacked on that play. So shout out to Taylor Heineke for that, and then shout out to Terry McLaurin. He's just a dog. I really wish it was a touchdown. It probably would have been a touchdown if Taylor would have threw it a little bit farther down the field. But it is what it is. He got the job done. He punched it in, 1 yard run. So of course those guys are my studs, or two of my studs. I think Taylor, he had an up and down game. The interception was awful. Some of the play calling did not help him out either by Scott Turner. But that final drive, man, where Taylor Heineke used his legs, got out of bounds on one scrambled a couple times to get first downs. The 4th and 6th play where he moved out of the pocket, evaded the rush, threw the ball to Curtis Samuel. That was just beautiful. That just took a lot of guts and moxie and heart from the legend of Taylor Heineke. I want to see what kind of shoes he wears today or tomorrow. Wearing the blue Jordans that he usually buys. And I think he got like a $125,000 bonus for each win he gets. I may be wrong about that, but he definitely was a stud to me. And behind his offensive line, you got to be able to move and make something happen. And this guy, he perseveres. He'll make one bad play, has a short memory, and makes up for the Giants game where he threw that terrible interception. He bounced back. The Falcons game as well last year. He's able to have a short memory than last week where he had an awful first half and bounced back. So Taylor Heineke, man, is he the quarterback of the future? Who knows? Is he a franchise guy? Who knows? And a lot of people are going to say, yeah, they know that he's not. But look, the guy is a winner. He has the moxie, the guts. Sometimes it's better to be fortunate. I don't call it lucky anymore. Sometimes it's better to be fortunate than good sometimes. And he just has that fortunate charm on his side. He really does. And he makes plays, man. He is better at just hitting underneath throws, knowing Scott Turner's offense, even though it's not a good offense. But this guy, he's a winner, man. He is. He's a gamer. He's a 9-8 record, I think, as a starter. So this guy, not a lot of people under commanders with quarterback. I think the only commander quarterback to lead with a winning record is Alex Smith. Kirk Cousins had a losing record. RG3 had a losing record. Of course, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum. All the guys I can name in the last 10, 20 years have had losing record. Brad Johnson, I think, had a winning record when he left. Or finished up his career as a commander or, Washington quarterback. So Taylor Heineke definitely was a stud for me, using his legs and using his mobility. So we got a good amount of studs here. Antonio Gibson. You look at the PFF numbers as well. Gibson, he had an 82.2 PFF grade. Terry McLaurin had an 82.9. He was the best offensive player, of course. Antonio Gibson, the touchdown catch was awesome. I love that. Also, there was one play where I think it was on the field goal drive where he barely stepped out of bounds, and he was running so fast. I mean, that could have been first down even more. So you just see how versatile he is. And the whole trade talk thing, I would not trade that guy. It just makes zero sense. Whoever, even if you trade him for like a third round pick, which that's what he was, a third round pick, I just don't see us drafting somebody as talented as he is. I know the fumbling problem, which he has not fumbled this year, knock on wood. He's a weapon, man. He's just explosive, man. He's a good kick returner, too. And a lot of people don't want to see him on punt returns. I wouldn't mind seeing him on punt returns. I get it. I know Dax hasn't fumbled the ball or nothing, but Dax is he's not that guy. He's not elusive. He can't make guys miss. I know he hasn't muffed the punt, but sometimes the decision to bring the ball out of the end zone, too, and to field the punt or whether or not to field the punt, I think he kind of misses the mark on that sometimes. Dax Milne does. Or it could be the coaching staff telling him to field it or whatever. I don't know. But Gibson, man, he's a weapon. 82.2 PFF grade, a 94.0 passing grade, which is super high. He did a really good job pass blocking as well, 73.4 grade. Trey Turner graded out pretty well. I guess he did a better job. He did a good job. He had a 78.5 overall PFF grade and an 80.6 run blocking grade. We didn't run the ball well. And he had a 61.7 pass blocking grade, which is not great, but it's okay. Charles Leno was a stud. He had another good day per PFF. 77.7 offensive grade, 78.9 pass blocking grade, and a 73.1 run blocking grade. Curtis Samuel, I thought he was a stud as well. Just that catch and how versatile, position flex. He can be a running back. He can be a wide receiver, jet sweeps. He's more than just a gadget guy, in my opinion. I think he's a darn good receiver. Made a nice catch, a tough catch on that 4th and 6 where we needed to move the chains on that touchdown drive. So Curtis Samuel was a stud to me. He hasn't put up big numbers, but he's made some important plays and some important catches to move the chains on third down. He is a good third down security blanket for sure. Other guys who were studs, not many guys on the offense. Like I said, Terry Gibby, Leno, Curtis Samuel. I love Cam Sims with that catch. That was a nice catch, but he just didn't have a great day. But that was a beautiful catch by him. I love that a lot. Armani Rogers had a nice catch too in the game. Jaden McKissick, you just can't slip, man. I don't want to call him a dud, but you just gotta stay on your feet, bro. You have to. And he almost sold the game on that. Just other guys per PFF on their numbers. Trey Turner had a better day. I already talked about him. Tyler Larson was pretty darn bad. He in pass blocking, he had a 25.8 pass blocking grade. I did see him get blown up a couple times. Andrew Norwell did a lot better, 70.3 per PFF. Who are the other offensive line? Cornelius Lucas struggled, 52.1 pass blocking grade and a 48.5 run blocking grade. Logan Thomas didn't do much at all yesterday. He doesn't look healthy, man. It is what it is, man. This year it's just been a rough year for him with injuries. Just getting back acclimated. He hasn't really gotten into a rhythm this year, to be honest with you. Dax Milne graded out pretty bad as well offensively with a 48.9 offensive grade and a 57.3 passing grade. So that's about it for the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, there was a couple of studs. Jamin Davis, that 3rd and goal stop, that was huge. I know he got beat by Naeem Hines, but that was huge, man. That stop, because if they would have scored, I think what was it, 10-6 at the time or something like that, or 9-7. I can't remember what the score was, but they definitely could have ran away with the game, and that was huge by him. Bobby McCain too, with the big stop on Michael Pittman, where they tried to say he was in the end zone, but he clearly wasn't. That was a big stop by Bobby McCain as well, making that tackle. So John Allen was definitely a stud, man. He got a sack. He had 8 tackles, two tackles for loss, 3 pressures and a hit on Sam Ehlinger. He didn't get a sack, but he did help with that fumble where they forced the fumble on Sam Ehlinger. He was there stuffing the run, too. Now, we did give up a couple of big runs to Jonathan Taylor. The sweep reverse to Paris Campbell. So the run defense wasn't great, but they were kind of a break, don't bend kind of defense. So Jonathan Allen, once again, being the leader of the defense. Montez Sweat graded really highly, 78.9, 72.0 run defense, 71.6 tackling. I didn't see him get to Sam Ehlinger at all, but he probably was in there in the backfield as well. John Ridgeway graded pretty high, 72.3 defensive rating from PFF, 25 total snaps. Derek Forrest, that punch out, man, to way to put his helmet, to put his hat on the football. That was a big forced fumble on Jonathan Taylor, who is a legitimate running back, arguably the best running back in the league last year. That was a huge play because they definitely would have scored on that drive, at least a field goal, because they were rumbling, bumbling, stumbling on our defense. They were easily moving the football on our defense. It was a big pass to, I want to say it was Alec Pierce on Ben St. Juice, and they were also running the football really well on that drive too. So that was a big play by Derek Forrest. He's really stepped up. Him and Cam Curl have been one of the highest graded safeties per PFF as well. So Derek Forrest, 72.1 defensive grade on the day, 78.0 tackling grade, and a 73.0 run defensive grade, and a 63.7 coverage grade. Cam Curl, I thought he had a solid game again, 69.9 defensive grade, 80.5 tackling grade. That tackle on Michael Pittman where he just picked him up and WWE body slammed to the ground. That was a great play by Cameron Curl. Jerron Payne, once again, forcing that fumble, recovering the fumble of Sam Ehlinger. He had 5 tackles, 1 sack, and 3 pressures and a fumble recovery. So have a day, big fella. Have a day. Definitely not trading that guy. Trade deadline is tomorrow. He's definitely not getting traded. I don't see us making any trades at all. I don't see Ron Rivera making any trades at all. Like I said, Bobby McCain, he was a stud for that play. Guys who were duds, Rashad Wildgoose, man. 29.1 defensive grade. And I don't care about PFF or not, but just watching him yesterday, I know he's learning. He's basically like a rookie. He probably hasn't even played 16 games yet of football. But the pass interference on Paris Campbell, and he got beat where Michael Pittman had hands like a snake and dropped the football on the potential pass that could have set the Colts up for a field goal. That was huge by Michael Pittman dropping that pass, and that was on Rashad Wildgoose. Rashad Wildgoose was on coverage man-to-man, and he got beat there. He did. And he had the pass interference on Paris Campbell. I already talked about that. But, maybe it was better that he did hold instead of giving up a touchdown so we could get that goal line stop. I already said Derek Forrest, John Allen, Deron Payne. Ben St. Juice didn't have a great day. Kendall Fuller, he was iffy, so. David Mayo, you got to catch that interception. You got to do better than that. You got to catch that. You got to catch the interception. Tress Way, of course, had a good game. I think the special teams guys like Christian Holmes, Percy Butlers, our gunners did a good job. We didn't get a muff punt, which I was disappointed with, but I thought they did a good job for the most part. So just looking at some PFF grades that did stand out to me. Bostic was graded high, but he only had 8 snaps. John Ridgeway, like I said, he graded out pretty high. I think he's been a good pickup off of waivers. He was a 6th-round pick from the Cowboys or 5th-round pick, and we picked him up. F.A. Obata graded out pretty well, 64.3. Jamin Davis, 64.2. Kendall Fuller, 67.2 coverage grade, which is really good. David Mayo actually had an 85.9 coverage grade and a 74.9 tackling grade. So David Mayo was okay in 19 snaps. That's really it that really stood out to me. Jeremy Reeves played 4 snaps. Bobby McCain played 57 snaps. But once again, the offensive line, just iffy and so-so. I thought they were, below average, but Heineke can move, man. He can move. He's not a tree. He can move. So Heineke, just keep doing what you're doing, man. I think it's a winnable game against the Minnesota Vikings, so I'll definitely make a preview for that. But I'm excited to see what Chase Young can do. If he does play within a week or two, which I do think he has a 21-day window, so they got to activate him within the 21 days. I'm thinking the Eagles game. That's what I'm thinking. And if we can get Jahan Dotson back, Cole Holcomb back, Cole Turner back, the offense can be even better, but it's just Scott Turner, man. Oh, another dud with Scott Turner and Ron Rivera, both of them. No sense of urgency before the end of the first half. No sense of urgency, barely even on the touchdown drive, to be honest with you. And no sense of urgency on the third on the field goal drive. Also, the 4th and 1 play call was awful. That shotgun run to Brian Robinson. The screen pass to Terry McLaurin, I thought it could have developed better if there was better blocking, but still not a big fan of the play call as well. And Scott Turner, he's just not that guy. He's not that guy, pal. He's just not. So I think the offense could be better with better play calling, to be honest with you. So that's all I got, guys. Hail to Commanders. Peace.